Whatever its imperfections, this was perhaps as close to a true art of the deal as it gets.
And if you think the war in Iraq was a disaster, the war in Iran will be even worse.
A war with Iran would make the war in Iraq look like a cakewalk.
The 2020 Democratic contenders weighing in on Iran. Tonight, tensions are heating up in the Gulf again after attacks on 2 oil tankers. Let's discuss some foreign policy realities with Fox News contributor Daniel Hoffman and former CIA officer Buck Sexton. Thank you both, gentlemen, for being with us.
Thank you.
Okay, so you heard what some of the folks had to say. Joshua Keating at Slate says this: the 2020 Democrats want to re-enter the Iran deal. He says it may not be possible. He says nearly every major Democratic candidate has pledged to re-enter the deal. It's an easy applause line. The deal is very popular, and pledging to re-enter it is an easy way to draw a clear distinction with Trump's foreign policy. Daniel.
Well, the deal was not popular enough in the Senate for it to be approved as a treaty. You know, it didn't deal with Iran's nefarious, aggressive military activity in the region. There's state sponsor of terrorism. Didn't deal with their ballistic missile program, and of course there were sunset clauses on the nuclear program. And Senator Chuck Schumer didn't support this. Didn't support the deal. So, I think. You know, again, given Iran's latest moves and their ratcheting up aggression the past couple of months, I'm finding it quite hard to understand why folks think this would be a good idea to go back to that flawed deal.
Well, and for those tensions, Buck, a lot of critics of the president are saying he's to blame with the onerous sanctions and continuing to pile on that front. They say he's been very antagonistic to Iran. Here's what Julian Castro said in our Fox News town hall tonight.
The issue that I have with this administration is that they seem to be hell-bent on moving us toward war with Iran. And the first step of that was withdrawing from the Iran nuclear agreement.
Buck?
Well, there are tremendous problems with the deal the Obama administration pushed us into. Some of the points I've already mentioned, I would just want to reiterate. I mean, it didn't deal with Iran as a terrorist state at all. It didn't deal with the ballistic missiles program. And beyond that, Iran is fighting proxy wars throughout the greater Middle East. And what we saw in Syria was perhaps just the highest body count involved in any of those conflicts. But the reality here is that the Iranian regime hadn't changed at all. And when you see some of these Democrat candidates, not just on Iran, but on foreign policy more generally, trying to distinguish what they would do from the Trump administration, it's noticeable that they're not really talking about what Trump has done. They're creating this fictional foreign policy of we're about to go to war with Iran. I don't think the Trump administration wants to go to war with Iran at all. They just want to hold Iran accountable for its nefarious actions across the Middle East. And when you start to look at what actually happened in the last 8 years, we had a war in Libya that people still figure what exactly happened there. We had a disastrous civil war in Syria. The Obama administration's leadership was essentially missing in action on. And there was not a single place you could point to, whether it was Iraq or Afghanistan, where there was a dramatic improvement. In fact, there were dramatic escalations in the wrong way, in the wrong direction under Obama's time. So this is going to be a tough sell for them, Shannon. I don't think that they want to look back at the last 8 years and say, well, Trump can't compare to that. He compares quite favorably to it, and they can't think of how they would do things better other than this disastrous Iran deal.
Mm-hmm. Well, Daniel, I mean, the president, obviously, he campaigned on the fact that he wanted to get out of a lot of these foreign incursions. We've talked about that before. He said openly that he does not want to go to war with Iran, but he's also said basically everything's on the table.
He doesn't want to go to war with Iran. Remember, it was Iran about a month ago which threatened to enrich uranium to weapons-grade levels and halt cooperation with Europe to stem the flow of migrants and drugs from the Middle East. If they didn't receive some redress on sanctions, it's Iran who mined those 4 oil tankers and continues, as Buck noted, to support those proxy militias in Yemen and Iraq and Lebanon with Lebanese Hezbollah. So they're the aggressor, and the way to stop them from launching attacks on us is to be clear about a deterrence. That's why we sent B-52 bombers and the USS Abraham Lincoln to the region, making it clear that if they attack us, it's not us seeking war, it is us seeking to deter the Iranians from striking at us and miscalculating what would be an end to their regime if they did so.
All right, we got to leave it there. But Daniel and Buck, thank you for lending us your expertise on this. Great to see you both.
Thank you.